Well, that brings us to our speaker spark today. The topic of the talk is so much to be truly happy about. And in his own words, there are babies, flowers, trees, the play of light, colors, smiles, laughter, bubbles, art, sunshine, moonshine, stars, music, chocolate, hugs and kisses, the oceans, the mountains, all creatures great and small, memories, hopes and dreams, so very many gifts of this world. Yet the infinite joy that we are all about at this moment is not of this world. It is about you and what you truly are. So our speaker spark today owns the company Kids Music Experience for the love of kids. I had the honor and privilege of watching him in the act with a group of very young children, about 4 years old, I guess. I was stunned and amazed and flabbergasted at the beautiful love that was shared by the class with him. Yet his music spans all age groups, speaking sometimes to the grown-ups and sometimes reaching right inside the listener and pulling out their inner child. He's also a channel, though he probably would never admit it. He's a channel of his guru, whom he brought to circle under very short notice one Sunday when the guru couldn't make it there physically and couldn't tell us he wasn't arriving. So Peter just stood right up and brought us his guru himself. It was amazing. So today he'll be bringing us sunshine, hope, joy, and gratitude without a doubt, because that's what he brings. So let's please give a warm circle of miracle welcome to Peter Moses.
Thank you. Thanks, Reverend Annabella. Well, I want to preface my spark by saying that I recognize that all these wonderful faces and these great spirits know what it is that I will be speaking of in the core of your being. And I also want to point out that I understand, just like Lauren Seed, that there is also poverty and pain and challenges, everyday challenges in this world, living on Earth, and that it's not all happiness. But in the same way, in the dualistic world we live in, it's directly connected to happiness in our total gratitude and appreciation for when we have some material comfort, or when we have enough food and shelter. And also in planting the seeds, as was said, for a deeper knowing of happiness. When we have, when I've experienced a relationship of some kind that doesn't work out, there's always some seed of wisdom and a greater appreciation for all my other relationships. When I have a challenge, an emotional challenge, I always learn from it. And the other work that I'm doing that Annabella did not mention is the mindful experience, which is for children and for parents and for teachers. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful vehicle for me to be more and more aware myself of my surroundings and my inner environment, my thoughts and emotions. And so that's all kind of worked into my short time with you today. We are that awareness. Language would suggest that we say we are aware of this, we are aware of that, but language is limited by our thinking mind. In truth, to my understanding, we are the awareness, we are our attention, we are the life itself that animates this body and mind. And Reverend Annabella would, I'm sure with her physics background, concur that the first law of thermodynamics says that it's all one energy and it can never be created or destroyed. So as that life energy, we are birthless and we do not die. So I found that something to be happy about. It's a great joy to experience that life energy directly, not as some belief or poetry or philosophy, but right here in this divine vehicle that we have, this awesome body. So today's meditation will be all about that. Wow. So then why is it that human beings are so often unhappy? Boy, I'm really glad you asked. I have found that this attention, this awesome awareness that we have, is directed or misdirected. The quality of the attention and the direction of the attention make all the difference in our happiness, in our lasting peace, and our lasting sense of joy. For instance, we as human beings are somehow conditioned to look into the outside world to somehow make us happy. It just happens in the play of life that as we grow up, we get this toy, we get this game, we get this circumstance, and we feel all this happiness, but we are not necessarily taught that that happiness is already inside us and that game and that toy is making it ring. And so when the toy breaks, we're miserable. And when the game ends, we go like, well, what's next? And everything becomes, as we grow up, dependent on the outside world, which is constantly morphing and changing and has all sorts of ups and downs to make us happy. So our happiness is anything but unconditional when we are directing our attention to this out here, instead of being taught, which is the beauty of my life right now, to teach children in their formative years and to teach all of us what we already know, that we are, as is said in scriptures, the kingdom of heaven. We are already the peace that surpasses all understanding. And so it's the direction. Then it's also the idea that we're learning and we're growing, and so we think, well, someday we'll make it. Someday I will have that lasting peace that doesn't just keep appearing as a taste of God and then it's gone, and then, oh my gosh, why, with all the work I'm doing, why isn't it abiding? So if we're constantly looking to the future and we think someday we're going to make it, well, that's a recipe for failure, because someday doesn't ever come. I know everyone's muted, but I want you to say the 3-letter word that is the one unchanging truth of what this life is about for us right now. It is always, I can see, I'm not a good lip reader, but I can see how many people said now. It's always this present moment. There's no other completely unchanging rock of truth in our daily lives. And it's such a beautiful truth because it's like an artist's palette that has never been drawn on. Every moment is fresh. Every moment is now. And so it's this internal dialogue, this noisy mind that can take us away from that present moment. It's this amazing, rich ability to feel and to have emotions that can pull us temporarily away. But no matter how many times we're pulled away, it's always now. My teacher and friend, Shanji, used to say, let me see if I can do it the way he would say it. Clouds come and go in the sky, but the blueness of the sky remains ever intact. You are that blueness of the sky, which is unchanging, eternal. Feel it here and now. And what he was always saying is, don't believe me, check it out. Feel how all these experiences that come and go never touch the peace that's behind it, only can hide it. And that unchanging peace that seems like some peak experience that comes and goes is always, always here when we're here. But we're not always here. When we're pulled out into a stream, a river of thought, and then our thoughts as human beings tend to have a negative bias. I mean, if you look at them, you can see that that internal dialogue is not generally consistently positive. It's usually looking for problems to solve problems. And it's constantly aware of possible threats. It comes from our ancestors. Our brain, from generations of conditioning, have that negative bias. But we have the capacity. Here's another scientific word, neuroplasticity. Our brains, we've discovered over the past few decades, absolutely can evolve to allow us to take in more good and to be more and more grateful. The sunset I saw last night was just awesome. I don't know how many of you caught it. But when you see a sunset like that, we have the capacity to literally just take it in, and for a few minutes, or even just for half a minute, to appreciate that we live in such a world that can give us so often such natural beauty. I mean, all of nature can give us that. So when we do that, they say neurons that fire together wire together. You're creating those neural pathways for more and more gratitude, more and more of an awareness of the beauty inside us that's ringing when we see a sunset like that. When we see anything that's beautiful, when we look into a child's eyes. So this voice in our head, I know I always get around to it when I speak at Circle. This voice in our head is fine if we know it for what it is. We have children here. If we know that that voice is trying its best and it's doing its thing, but it is not who we are, and that it often is not speaking the truth. Such freedom, you can't really speak about it. The liberation that gives, to know that we have this voice in our head that really, we know it's not who we are because it won't shut up on cue. We can't say, okay, that's enough. We don't even say that because often we're thinking, well, this is me talking. Well, it's not. To my understanding, it is not. If it was, it wouldn't wake you up in the middle of the night with some horrific who knows what, and then keep you from going back to sleep at 2 or 3 a.m. So we have this body and mind, and it's just awesome. But we have to be the one to recognize what we are behind it. The awareness, occasionally being aware of those thoughts. The gratitude for this body. Hey, by the way, I hope you take this the right way, but you have an awesome body. I mean, wow. You do, because you're human. But you're also really adorable. I'm looking at all these adorable faces, so yeah, you do. This awesome body, as Hannelore called it, is an earth suit, along with your personality and your mind, thinking mind. And you actually have several bodies. I have read about them, and I've kind of gotten the gestalt of these bodies that are described. You have this human body, which is in itself just amazing. 100,000 plus thoughts and neural impulses every second going through. Chemical responses that all know what the other chemical responses are doing. It's miraculous. But we also have our presence. When someone says, I just dig hanging out with you. Your presence is so comforting. Your presence is so friendly. It's so wonderful. That is a body that is not, obviously not contained by this physical body, or your friend, even the one who you're speaking with over the phone or you're Zooming with, feels that presence. So that is another body that you have. We have a community body. We're looking at it. This is the community body. It's wonderfully apparent circle. It's also apparent that we have a family body. And as Annabella was saying, this is our spiritual family body, not limited by the physical body. We have a continuation body that when this body, as Hannelore put it, has an expiration date and returns to the earth, every thought, every speech, every act of kindness, every wonderful, beautiful thing about your life continues in all of the souls living with one another on the earth. And the ultimate body is the ultimate truth of God within. And that one is impossible to capture with words. But it's something that we feel. We feel it with true love. True love, which is the recognition of the other as yourself. I want to tell everybody about a documentary that my wife Jackie found and pointed out to me, and it's so wonderful. It's so heart-opening. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's called The Antidote. The Antidote. And it doesn't say straight out what the antidote is, but it's obviously the antidote for the negativity and the unconsciousness and the toxic nature of humanity where it is right now. And it is, I won't go into it except to say that your heart will be broken and opened and broken and opened, and you will love everyone you see. You will love everyone you see. And these are people who you've never met. And so it's a straight out giveaway that we are of the oneness, because you are not thinking about it. You're not writing about it. You're not speaking about it. You are knowing it when you see these human beings and their circumstances and the beauty of the selflessness on the screen. I've just raved about it enough. So true love that we all get to experience, I mean, that is something to be genuinely happy about every day. It's not the sticky pop music, you done me wrong, I can't live without you. Although I love Harry Nilsson. That song, I think he did it he needed some bucks. I can't live if living is what. No, it's not the kind of true love we're talking about. The true love that is the overflow of the love that we are. So I think I'm going to suggest that everyone feel free to unmute, because I think I've spoken enough for now.